All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Once again, my name is Mike McDonald out of Allen, Texas, working back and forth between Allen, Texas and Newport Beach, California, the home office of Velara Global. Very excited to be hosting your call here tonight. Very excited to share with you who we are, what we do, but more importantly, I am excited to share with you about where we are going as a company. Brand new company, less than 90 days old, been selling products for about 90 days the old-fashioned way through the paper trail, taking applications and getting started. We hope to launch our website this week from a replicatable website, but things are absolutely happening. It is very, very exciting. And early last year, I get a phone call from a very good friend of mine, Mr. Andy Nakashima, who is an icon in the industry, but more from a corporate level. Andy's been involved with several companies over the years, helping take one company to over $1 billion in sales. And he was introduced to the owners and founders of this company, Bernard and his precious wife, Grace, and they began to share their vision and ideas of starting up a company with a couple of amazing products. And I was very fortunate to have received a phone call from Andy and asked me to come out to California. Actually, we had a conversation on the phone with the owners, and every once in a while you talk to someone that you just truly connect. The energy's right, everything about it just feels right, feels like you've been friends for years and years and years. That's exactly what happened when I was introduced to Bernard. Flew out to California, met him in person, because obviously there's a different energy when you meet somebody in person than over the telephone. And just literally fell in love with who they were, what they represented, and once again where they were going, what they wanted to do, and decided, this is where I wanted to hang my hat. After several years of looking around at different companies and different opportunities, this was the one that I could see myself doing, and not only taking it around the country, but taking it around the world. Because our mission, after sitting down with everyone, the founders and the owners, is we didn't want to start just another company, another juice, another vitamin, another weight loss company. There's a lot of good companies already in that space. What we wanted to do is create a great company with great products. And to be great, you got to surround yourself with the right people. As my friend Jim Collins says, it's all about who you put on the bus. So it's fairly easy to be a good company, but the challenge is, what do you have to do to be a great company? Once again, get the right people on the bus, have the right product, have the right compensation plan, do the right things, and now you have built a company that will last. And that's exactly what we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen, is building a company that will be here for years and years and years and generations after generations. We're going to be the next GE who's been out there for a long time, and we are going to stand the test of time. At the corporate office level, we have well over 200 years of experience, and I think that's important when you really look at who runs the ship. And from the warehouse all the way up to the CEO of the company, the operation officer, they all are well-educated, experienced business people with industry background, and I think that's very, very important. And over my 30 years in this direct sales industry, I've been very, very fortunate to have helped take a couple of companies to over 100 million. I've been blessed to have been with some good companies, but I've had my share of disappointments as well. And we know what it takes to be a good company and a great company, and that's what we strive for in each and every day, because our motto here at the corporate level is to let service to others be our highest calling. And that is non-negotiable. We know it takes more than just having a good compensation plan, because we know a lot of people are very, very wealthy, but they're not happy in life. We know people that are broke that seem to be a lot happier. So what does it take to be, to have a balanced life? Well, it's prosperity, it's health, it's life, it's family, and it's happiness. The right company can provide that, then you got total balance. So once again, our mission is very, very simple. Let service to others be our highest calling. So that's exactly what we stand for. And, we also know that there's three major things out on Mother Earth that it takes to survive: air, water, and food. So as we sat around and thought about what do we want to do, how do we want to bring this product to the marketplace, the owner of the company for the last 7 years has had an interest in the water industry. And What do I mean by the water industry? Well, think about that for just a minute. You got to have air, water, and food to survive. But here's the problem with two of the three of those, because I think we all agree that we've done a pretty good job in messing up air, water, and food. So think about water for a minute. I was shocked to find out that right here in the United States, almost 1 million people a year die because of contaminated water. And a lot of times we just take a lot of things for granted. We think that we turn that faucet on, we're going to get good, clean, healthy water. I was also shocked to find out that in third world countries, every 21 seconds a child dies because of contaminated water. Now, most of us walk around dehydrated and sick, and most of it is caused because not drinking enough water or drinking bad water. So water is a major problem. Over half the planet is water, but a very small amount of that water on the planet is drinkable. Wars have been fought over water. We've sent people into outer space looking for water. So water is very critical, represents well over 70% of our body. Well, the environment is also critical. We thought, well, what if we, bottled water, what if we take filtering systems and reverse osmosis and create better drinking water? Well, really all we've done is created even a bigger problem. The environment is just saturated with plastics, and the environment from the plastics is just polluted. Every creek, every river, lake. So, matter of fact, there's a place out in the Pacific Ocean the size of Texas that has collected all the debris from plastics and bottles and whatnot, and that's just wrong. Any way you want to look at it. So we're here to share with you two things: a product that is going to change the water as we know it today, and a food supplement that will change food as we know it today. So we know what the problem is. Now it's time to talk about a solution. We have created two amazing products, once again, inspired by nature, but backed up by science. Now that's worth repeating. Inspired by nature, but backed up by science. We have two absolutely amazing products that demonstrate, especially in a one-on-one environment or a home party environment, you can take either one or both of these products and share them with individuals and show them how the water can literally change their lives, or the Volumina product taken on a daily basis can literally change their lives. So as my friend Jim Collins would say, once again, on Good to Great, you get the right people around you, the right things are going to happen. When I was asked to be part of the family here at Velara Global, one of the first phone calls, if maybe even the very first phone call that I made, was to a good friend of mine back in Dallas, Texas. Of course, I was living in Dallas. And so I made the phone call to my friend David Sage, and I said, David, boy, I'm on the inside track of something really, really big. We need to talk. I knew David had a huge background in the direct sales network marketing industry. I knew he had taken a company to $1 billion. I knew he had had success building an organization of well over 500,000 people. I knew on stage he was a great trainer, spoke from his heart. And I knew that he was the kind of guy that I would want to have in my foxhole helping me lead this company from the sales standpoint. So I said, David, would you come to California, meet the owners, and take a look at what we're putting together here? Well, David flew to Newport Beach, California, loved what he saw, what he heard, knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, packed up his bags in Texas, his family, his personal belongings, his 18-year-old son, his dog, and moved to Newport Beach to help us launch this company. So it's with great pleasure I get to bring David Sage on the phone with me. David, if you're there, please speak up and let's talk a little bit about our two products that are inspired by nature and backed up by science.
I sure will, Mike, and I tell you what, I appreciate that call that you made to me. It actually made me make a serious enough commitment to move out here. I had to give up the heat and the humidity and the mosquitoes in Texas and come out to Newport Beach. But I was willing to do it because you're such a good friend. So I appreciate that. Your wife, when she was out here, shared with me that water is perfect. She said most of the time you were in high school and college, you were in hot water, and I didn't want to ask her any more about that. But
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
No, I'm kidding. I tell you what, I do appreciate you inviting me out here. And when I got out here, I was blown away. As Mike said, I had the privilege of having some success in the water industry. And since I left the company I was with, I've always been looking for a water unit that took it to the next level. And you know what, Mike? It isn't out there. And it kind of hit home the other day when I was just thinking with our water unit that we have here, you know, my son and I usually would go through about 2 cases of bottled water. And now we don't drink any bottled water. We won't even drink it, especially when you understand the plastic leaching into the water, the ecological disaster, all the different things. And then after we've tested the waters, Mike, you know, I've tested just about every bottled water that exists. 99% of them are acidic. They're dead. They have no healthy mineral content. They're not antioxidant. And it's absolutely crazy. And I just absolutely fell in love with this unit. I tell you, one of the leaders that has joined us in this company, actually a team, 2 gentlemen that were leading up another company selling one of the expensive alkaline water units that make alkaline water with electricity, actually got one of our units and ran it side by side and called me, and they were absolutely ecstatic. They talked about the ORP and talked about the alkalinity and just went on and on. And I thought, you know, one of the things we want to do with these calls, we're going to change them up a little bit every day so we got a little bit different variety, so people can hear from some different people out there. But it's my privilege. I've got one of those leaders, Randy Hood, on the line. Randy has absolutely been a pioneer in the water industry, one of the largest sellers and recruiters in the whole water industry worldwide. And we are so proud to have him on our team. And maybe, Randy, you could share with me, when you saw this unit, what was it about our water unit that really caught your attention? Randy Hood.
Great. Yeah, thank you very much, David. Yeah, really a pleasure to be here tonight. And, yeah, when I first got this unit and took it home with me, and I put it up against my electric ionizer that I've been using for 6 years and really, really happy with the product, what I found is I like the taste better, number one. The pH lasted longer than my electric ionizer that I'd had, and the ORP actually lasted almost twice as long. So that really impressed me. And the quality of the water and the system itself, it's so simple, it's non-electric. And the key to this one is that it's affordable for everyone. And you know, the people I've talked to so far that have got the system are very excited about the product and are loving it. So, yeah, we're very excited to be part of our company here and looking forward to the future.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Randy, we're proud to have you on board. I know you had a lot of success with your other product even, and as you said, this one tested even better. But give us an idea for those that are on the line tonight that may not understand, why is it so important to drink water that's alkaline?
Well, you know, I think a lot of people online have heard the idea of having our bodies alkaline instead of being acid or acidic. And what we're finding over the years of using this type of water is that people that are acidic, we can actually get their bodies balanced out by just drinking our water. Within 30 days of drinking this type of water, people's health improves, their energy improves. You know, I even see people's attitude improved. I really believe that water is one of the key factors that we need to stay healthy, and it's not just for our body, it's also for our brain. You know, I just see people's attitude change so much when they start drinking our water, and, you know, that's really what I'm excited about, is this is something that can truly help everybody. And, you know, the nice thing is it's not just in North America, but we're also going to be able to take this thing around the world and really help a lot of people.
Boy, there is no question, Randy. And, you know, I had the privilege of hearing some of your presentations back with your other company, and really the products that you sold made a huge difference in people's lives. And one of the things that I heard you mention was not only did this product compare favorably in terms of alkalinity, but also in terms of ORP, oxidation reduction potential. And as you know, some of the bottled waters we've tested, almost all of them test positive ORP, like positive 100, positive 30, and our water tests like negative 230 to negative 250. What is ORP, and why is that important?
Well, ORP stands for oxidation reduction potential, and what this does is it actually helps. It's the only water out there that is giving us antioxidants. And, of course, antioxidants are help fight off the free radicals that we're being bombarded with on a day-to-day basis, not just from our food and water, but also just even our thoughts. Our thoughts can be negative, and this can help balance out all of the free radicals that are affecting our bodies all day long. So it really does make such a difference in people's health to be able to get this water into our system.
There is no question. One of the examples I use, Randy, is when you cut an apple in half. You can almost watch it turn brown, but if you put lemon juice on half the apple, that half of it stays fresh. And the reason is the lemon juice is an antioxidant. Now imagine in your body cells are doing the same thing. They're basically rusting and getting oxidized and changing. And the water, when it's got a negative ORP, is like that lemon juice. It works as an antioxidant and stops that oxidation from happening. So it's absolutely powerful. And from a water standpoint, there's never been a time in history where more people drink less real water. As a result, we've got disease skyrocketing. This will be the first generation in history where our kids won't live as long as their parents. And it's an absolute tragedy, and I believe most of it comes right back to our poor beverage and food choices. And from a water standpoint, Mike, I'm going to give it back to you. I don't think there's any question there is no alternative at any price to make water as good as what we do. Thanks, Randy. Back to you, Mike.
All right, thank you, Randy. Great information. Thank you, David. You're absolutely right, guys. It is so important that we learn to drink quality water and quantity of water. Most of us walk around dehydrated, and the more water we drink, the more toxins we flush out, and if it's the great Velara water, that is even better. So thank you guys so much. And you know, we've got all kinds of evidence out there, David. There's books have been written. There's, for example, Dr. Warburg even won the Nobel Prize validating, that, stuff like cancer thrives in an acidic body. So why would we want to have an acidic body when we have choices of having an alkaline body? And once again, guys, there's books after books after books have validated what we're talking about. So water is a very critical piece of life: air, water, and food. And speaking of food, we know that food is a huge problem. We're the most overfed, undernourished country in the world, and we've got into this microwave instant gratification mentality, and we try to take so many shortcuts, but in the long run, we're paying the price. Each and every day, you can pick up a newspaper or magazine or listen to TV and radio, and they talk about the health hazards that are before us, even our children. David, I've never, it just scares me to think that, they say 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 children are diabetics or will be diabetics sometime in their lifetime. I mean, that is just scary, absolutely scary. So let's take a few minutes out, David, and talk about the problem of the American diet and what we believe could be an amazing fix, and that is our Volumina product, because studies show that 70% of health problems could literally be avoided simply by making better lifestyle choices. So let's talk about one of those choices and how the immune system affects the body.
I tell you what, Mike, as Randy shared too, from a water standpoint, I believe we've really figured out how to make water the way that it's made in nature, not with electricity or chemicals. And just like how people have never have had so many people have never had less real water, so many people today have never had less real food. I mean, we almost have no real food in our supermarkets. It's absolutely tragic. A cup of spinach that I would have had in 1951, today I'd have to eat 50 cups of that same spinach to get the same amount of nutrients, and it's absolutely tragic. So used to be medical doctors, Mike, would say, wow, you really don't need to take vitamins. You can get all the nutrients from the food you eat. Well, all of a sudden in 2001, in the Journal of the American Medical Association, the journal came out and said, you got to take a multiple vitamin. You can't get the nutrients from the food anymore because our soils have been so depleted. Well, now, Mike, they've taken a change again, and they've said taking a fractionated, isolated multiple vitamin may be more dangerous than not taking vitamins at all. And why is that? Well, take an orange, for example. In an orange, there's a full rainbow spectrum of vitamin C. And typically in a fractionated multiple vitamin, we get ascorbic acid. That's just one little fraction of the vitamin C in an orange. And we don't get it all, and our bodies don't recognize that. And so the owner of our company said, okay, well, what happens in nature that is the most powerful nutritional thing that ever happens to a human being? And it's colostrum. In the first part of the mother's milk, when you're born, in your mother's milk, that first part of the milk has colostrum. That's like the most potent rainbow of nutrients that you will ever receive as a human being. And I asked the gentleman who's considered the world's #1 expert on colostrum, I said, what's the real secret on colostrum? He said, it's the peptides. I said, what do the peptides do? He said, very simply, the peptides are the software that tell your cells how to stay healthy. And he said, David, without it, you can take all the vitamins you want, eat all the foods you want, you take all the chemotherapy if you've got cancer, it doesn't matter, and your immune system is not going to be strong enough and not going to know what to do to fight off disease and the ravages of aging and everything else. You've got to have a healthy immune system, and as the cornerstone of our Volumina product, Mike, that colostrum is extremely powerful and potent, way more than anything that's ever been on the market. People notice more energy. They feel better. It's been absolutely off the charts. I might go back to Randy for a minute. Randy, you've seen some of the tests that we've done in our office that show people how powerful this product is. Now, you came just from a water background. Here we've got a product that's a water unit, almost like a razor, but we've got the razor blades that people use every day with our Volumina product that literally can turn their bodies around health-wise. Tell us, Randy, if you're still with us there, give us an idea. What was it about the Volumina product that you first saw that got you so excited?
Well, yeah, thanks, David. You know, my wife and I have been in the nutritional world for over 30 years now, and I have to say, when we came down here a month ago to look at the company and just check it out, we tried the Volumina, and both Val and I, literally within 10 minutes, we felt a difference with the product. And what it was just more energy and felt really clear, you know, and now that we've been using it, you know, every day for over a month, I have to say I've just got really great energy, and I really believe this is a product that everybody can benefit from, you know, all the way from young children and babies all the way up to, you know, grandparents, and that's the exciting thing. We've got great water with probably one of the best nutritional products that I've seen, so that people can literally, you know, improve their health from hydrating properly and getting the right nutrients into our body. So I'm very impressed with what you've created over here.
I appreciate that, Randy, and I tell you what, we're so proud to have you and Kai on our team here, buddy. Very, very proud. Thanks for sharing with us. And you know, Mike, I've never seen anything like the Volumina product. When you have done some of the muscle testing that you show with people where you test different things, even some of the greatest nutritional products that are out there, we've never seen anything that tests stronger than the Volumina product, because your body, even without taking it internally, just by simply holding it in your hand and having it in your presence, your body recognizes how powerful it is, and you can demonstrate that with muscle tests that just absolutely blow people away. They can't believe it. You can have somebody standing there and you can test their strength, put one of these products in their pocket, and just by being close to them. I mean, and when I first saw you do that, I thought, okay, this is nuts. How can that even be possible? And as you always share, Mike, you know, you can take a picture with your cell phone, send it to a friend in Afghanistan. How does that picture get there? Where does it go? I have no idea how that works, and I have no idea how the Volumina works, but I do know this. It's the most powerful product that I have ever seen, and I tell you what, when people take it, they notice a difference. They notice they don't get colds. They notice they don't get sick. They just feel fantastic, and the reason is it's not the product that's the miracle. Your body's the miracle if it's given the right software to operate. And I tell you what, without it, it'd be like our doctor told us. He said it'd be like going to the Apple store buying a brand new MacBook Pro without software. How in the world are you going to expect that computer to do anything? Same thing with our body. If you've got the right software, And I tell you, the formula that Harry, our product formulator, has put together with this super colostrum as the core nutrient is absolutely off the charts. The single most important product that somebody should take every day. You simply mix it with our water. It's even more potent with alkaline water. And I tell you what, it tastes delicious. I have yet to have one person tell me, you know, I really don't like the taste. Everybody goes, wow, that tastes good. Whether they're 6 months old, 6 years old, 60 years old, or 90 years old, everybody loves the product. And you combine that with our water, Mike, and I think we've got a 1-2 punch that's going to take this company to $100 million a year in sales. And thanks, Randy, for sharing with us. Back to you, Mike.
All right, thank you, David. Thank you, Randy. And I know that $100 million in reference to our first year, because there's no doubt with these two products on an international level, we will definitely be a billion. That's what to be, a billion-dollar company. Thanks, Randy. Thanks, David. And ladies and gentlemen, I know you're interested. Okay, the product is great. Well, how do we make money? Well, there's 6 different ways that you can earn money with us, and 2 ways that you can earn rewards with us. You know, there's a few things that we put on the table here when it comes